So basically, what are some of the other symbols or things in your logos that when I spot it, or if if we're out of town and we see Cashland, how can we spot the brand?
It's always the CL.
Okay.
Or the C.
That's nice.
Thank you. Or the theme of cash, of course.
Okay.
But the biggest, and we've been using this for like literally for years, is the bird and that C. Just, we've been, people think Celine and all that, but we was using that C, and there's some people in this room that could tell you since like probably 05, 04,
Okay.
05. A lot of people didn't have even one letter logos for their brands. We had the hats with the C. I sold thousands of them joints. We had the Jon Cash t-shirts back in the day, which I may bring back one day. Thousands. I mean, literally thousands of those
it's real
t-shirts.
nice, man. We can all go through hardships in life, and sometimes you may want to give up. But we're going to tell you how to bounce back, turn it around. This is the Climb Back series. What's good, everybody? It's your man, Hef Streams, and we back with the next episode of the Climb Back series. Your man P got us out here rocking the Cashland. If you haven't heard or if you don't know, it's one of Baltimore's biggest clothing lines and movements. We about to go in here and knock this interview out with your man, Jon Cash. Looking forward to getting this episode done, P. Man, what y'all looking at? That's the Cashland clothes? Man, it's off the hook, man. And the quality, man, feels good. Today, the Climb Back series pays a visit to Cashland, a premier clothing line and brand in Baltimore. My man Jon Cash started it up on his own, and he takes his business very serious. As we talked about before, the Climb Back series tend to talk about how people do bounce back from hard times in their life. In this case, Jon Cash found a way to navigate and avoid those pitfalls and remain successful. Today we're gonna get into the business of Cashland. Welcome back to the Climb Back series. What's good, everybody? It's your man Hef Streams, and we're back with the latest edition of the Climb Back series. And I'm here at the Mecca of fashion, one where quality is unrivaled. I'm excited to say I'm here at Cashland, right here in the home of Baltimore City, with the man himself, Jon Cash. How you doing, sir?
How's it going, my brother?
All right. Welcome to the Climb Back series.
Yes, sir.
Really appreciate the opportunity. So, just a background story of how we, got started to be here at Cashland. I saw my guy P often. If you know P, you've seen him before in previous interviews with myself. And I see him wearing these clothes. And I saw the brand that said Cashland, looked real sharp. And P, a bigger guy like myself, it looked like it had some great quality. Mm-hmm. So I asked him about it. And he said, bruh, you gotta check out Cashland. It's a great clothing line. It's a great brand. So thank you again. We're here. Yeah. First thing I want to ask you is, tell the people, what is Cashland? What does it mean to you, and how'd you get started?
Cashland is a brand that I started over in East Baltimore, and I grew up on Ashland Avenue. So we ended up putting the C in front of Ashland.
Okay.
Yeah, made it Cashland. I started with another brand prior to this one called Deaky Lane. That's actually the neighborhood I'm from. But people wanted to wear the Deaky Lane clothes, and a lot of times people looked at it as like a gang instead of a brand.
Okay.
So that's how we started Cashland, because we wanted something that still connected us to East Baltimore, but something that anybody could wear.
Okay, and around what time, what year was that?
This was 2000.
Okay.
Yeah.
And around that time, what were you wearing? Like, where were your inspirations and clothes coming from?
Oh, Maurice Malone, Azore, always Adidas and Nike, of course. But like black designers, I think we always thought Maurice Malone was probably was an Asian guy somewhere, but yeah, Maurice Malone was like one of the big ones.
Yeah, and it inspires me because one thing about the Climb Back series, we always try to aim to show people it's possible. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I already hear where your story started, how you wanted to separate from that gang culture to having a nice clothing brand
Exactly.
and a lifestyle. That's impressive. So,
Yeah.
did you get any pushback when you first started out, or did you have any obstacles in the beginning that kind of made it hard?
Yeah, the pushback in the very beginning, so we went from Deaky Land to Cashland.
Okay.
And everybody in my neighborhood that supported Deaky Land, when I made Cashland, they was like, we ain't wearing that. I ain't wearing that, So I actually took all my business over to West Baltimore.
Okay.
So we had opened a kiosk in Montgomery Mall at the time. And I had a lot of homeboys that I knew from West Baltimore that we partied in a lot of the clubs together and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I took it over West.
And see, me, I'm from D.C., and we always, around that time in the early 2000s, that's when jerseys was in style.
Oh, yeah.
So I heard about Endowment always having a good jersey.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure you definitely got a lot of attention,
Yeah.
in that situation. Where did you get the brand from itself and like the logos and the design?
I created it. Really got it from here. The inspiration for the bird, which was our main logo.
Okay.
Our first logo was the 4 circles.
Okay.
With the CL on the inside. And the 4 circles actually meant north, south, east, and west.
Okay.
So we were trying to create a brand that was, attractive to all sides of Baltimore. That's what the north, south, east, and west was all about. Then I had a lawyer who I went to trademark the logo. He was like, man, that logo looks like a Target, like Target. I was like, really? He was like, you need something more distinct. So I went home and started going through my Rolodex, all through the pictures, all on the internet. And I was going through the animals and I saw the bird. I said, oh, I like that. And then I put the Cashland on the back of the bird. I said, oh yeah, I like that. And that was it.
So one thing I'm hearing a lot right now is you did a lot by yourself.
Oh yeah.
The idea, you thought of it, you came up with the inspiration to start the clothing line.
I did have a partner back then. His name was Leon.
Okay.
And he is actually, so I grew up on Ashland, and we came up with all these names with Ashland, like Trashland, Hashland, Bashland, Cashland with a K. He came up with Cashland with the C.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you take it from the original idea to like where it is now? Tell me about some of the major steps that occurred or moments in your career that took you to those next levels.
It was all, so I went to UMBC, graduated from UMBC.
Okay.
And one thing college taught me how to do was to do research.
Okay.
So I was always, Google fingers. I think it was Google at the time or something or whatever it was. I can't remember. But I was all over the internet researching how do you make clothes, what machines are out there. Because initially I started with a sewing machine. And the sewing machine, I would cut letters out of fabric, stick them to the shirt, and then take the sewing machine and stitch the letters down so that when you wash it, it won't come out.
Wow. And that's the thing, like, and not to just say because I'm sitting here in your store, but the first thing with putting this shirt on, the quality is incredible.
Thank you.
And just walking around and going through and looking at the clothes that you produce, like, I really think that the quality is impeccable.
Thank you.
The clothing feels good.
Yep.
I'm one of those guys that if I put a shirt on, I probably wear it one time.
Right.
Because it might wear out, or when I wash it and dry it, it might not make it. So where did you get your quality from? Did you go to a certain location?
So before I was making clothing, I wore a lot of clothes. Like I was into Banana Republic. I used to shop there. I used to wear suits. I was a director of at-risk and out-of-school youth programs at Baltimore City Community College. I was a life skills and job readiness instructor at the Baltimore Urban League.
Wow.
So I always wore like, back then I was into high-end dress clothes. I like nice stuff. Then when I switched over to sportswear, I carried that same attitude. And I had a lot of manufacturers who were making stuff for me. And when the manufacturers were producing clothes for me, I started seeing, hey, when you wash this and you dry it, this shrinks up real bad. Yo, you got to stop that.
Or it might fade.
Yeah, or it might fade. I say, yo, you got to stop that. If he don't stop, then I stop dealing with him.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I wouldn't mind paying $100 for a shirt, and we're gonna get into pricing and how you came up with your marketing. But I want to at least get a good 2 to 3 wears. I would hope out of that shirt.
Man, back in the day, your stuff would bead up right here on your thighs. I hate that shrinkage. One day, I went into my closet. This would really change the game. I went to my closet, went to go jogging. So I always bought sweatsuits from different companies, just trying them out, comparing them, whatever. So I went into my closet, grabbed this Rockaway sweatsuit, put it on, went jogging, came back, and went to the store with the Rockaway sweatsuit on.
Okay.
And I was buying a gallon of water. Guy was like, man, what you doing with Rockaway on? You got Rockaway on, boy. Why you ain't got Cashland on? Da, da, da. I was like, man, I can wear whatever I want. And I was walking back to the store, and I was like, damn, why do I have Rockaway on? So I went up to my closet, and I just went through all my Cashland sweatsuits. They was either beady, the legs was too short because they washed and dried them. They didn't hold up, whatever, woo, woo. So I was like, hey, that's it. I can't do it like this no more. I went to LA, and I went to the Magic Show, which is the big clothing conference for the country in Vegas. But instead of going to the actual show where all the celebrities are and all that, I went to all the conferences and seminars that they had throughout the show. I just played the seminars the whole time. And I met a nonprofit organization out of LA that helped brands. So I became a part of the organization. I flew out to LA.
You said they help brands?
They help brands,
Okay.
yeah. They were called FBI, Fashion Business Incorporated.
Okay.
But they are no longer around. But they helped me out tremendously. She went through where I was with my company, and she was like, you know, your problem, you need to come to the textile show, which is a fabric show, next week. I said, I'll be out here. So I flew back out there the following week, and I met some manufacturers who made fabric for Ralph Lauren, Levi's, you know, all the Donna Karan, all these big brands, and I had to fight my way. I had to fight them to order fabric from them.
Wow.
I kept calling. No response. Asked to speak to a manager. The people, they had their company was in Canada. So I went through all of that.
And you was doing this all yourself?
All myself.
With no training, with nobody holding your hand through the process?
College taught me everything.
Okay.
Like college taught me how to speak, how to read, and how to write.
Okay.
So I was and research, and I was using all those skills to work my way through. I wasn't going to take no for an answer. And finally got through, and they started making fabric for me. So now that I got the fabric made, I had to find somebody to actually produce the clothes. I went to another show in New York. So I also was part of the Small Business Administration, SBA.
And let me just interject and ask you a quick question. While you were making these moves, you were still making money at that time that was helping you get to those places, or were you struggling?
I'm always struggling.
Okay.
But I had a store, West Pratt Street. I had bought a vinyl cutter at the time. So when I went from stitching by hand, I said, we got to automate this somehow. So I bought a vinyl cutter. Started cutting vinyl for our logo with the shirts. I'm sure you remember. Cutting a bird and cutting the 2 color birds and pressing them onto the shirt. And then I noticed that a lot of rappers at the time in Baltimore were rapping on stage, and they were going places, doing all these shows, and nobody knew your name.
Right.
So I said, yo, hey, why don't you, Cashland, let me put your name on the back of the shirt.
Genius, man.
And blew up. So
who were some of the rappers that you had?
Charm City C, True Bill, Rico, Velly Smalls, the whole group that sung West Side Certified, all those guys. Then all the guys that they knew that was rapping, they brought to the table. And I was just making clothes for everybody.
And that's before social media was really big.
That
right?
is before Instagram.
Okay.
This was the MySpace days, where MySpace wasn't it was a music platform initially, but people was using MySpace
Yeah.
just to connect to people.
Not really
you know.
marketing as much as
Not
we
a
do
lot
now.
of marketing, but I was using it for marketing, you know, my brand. But all the rappers and all the women, all the guys looking for the girls back then. All the girls look for guys,
Yeah.
you know. But it changed.
No, that's genius to me, man.
Yeah.
Especially with having that resource right there in your
Yeah.
home city.
Yeah.
So when you got again really into the marketing and to pricing your merchandise, and you know, one question is, who was your target audience, or did you kind of learn that over time, your target customer base, and how did you find out what prices to charge? Where did you get that idea from?
My target customer was I ain't gonna lie, the street guys, the hustlers, because they had the extra money to spend. So back then, you know, some guys would buy a new sweatsuit every other day. Like it was crazy. They might buy 2 or 3 of them at a time. Everybody wanted sweatsuits and shorts and T-shirts to match their sneakers. That was another thing that helped me back then, and still to this day. I'm one of the only brands that I know of, especially in this area, that will go in the back and make you an outfit to match your shoe right now. And
that's impressive, man.
Yeah,
to be in your own store and to do that work yourself, like I'm impressed. Like you accepted us in here today, got me and P a shirt. Like I really appreciate the hospitality.
No
Who else did you work with, you know, coming up, as far as anybody notable that we could know who wore your clothes?
I've had numerous celebrities wear my stuff, but they never really contacted me. It was always they sent somebody to the store to pick something up.
Gotcha.
Back then, our stuff was on The Wire.
Okay.
When The Wire first got kicked off, I had a couple homeboys who would play extra roles, and they would come get stuff to wear, and they would let them wear it on.
So we'll see the Cashland clothes on The Wire if we go back.
Some
That's
of the
dope.
early episodes. Another brand that inspired me too was Samos. They was from Baltimore. They were huge at the time. I was the little boy in the game. They were the big boys. Yeah. And they, you know, actually we worked together a lot and had a lot of camaraderie, and you know, they really helped me bloom as a brand as well.
So John, where do you see Cashland going from here? Like I look around and I'm looking at some of the mantras on the shirts, like breeds confidence. You know, like what does that mean to you, and where are you going from this point on?
Cashland, I want to say, has always bred confidence for the customer base.
Okay.
People always felt good with the brand on. You go out with it on, people will say, "Oh, you got money. I heard about them clothes. They're expensive." And when we talk about pricing, you got to price stuff for everybody. You got to have a shirt with a little small logo on it for $25. You got to have a shirt with a big logo on it for $75. You got to have a shirt with an extremely complicated logo on it for $150. And people will jump in where they fit in. So some people get the 25. Some people only wore the $150 t-shirts. And we would custom make them again, however you wanted them. And, you know, everybody stayed in their lane.
You know, typically we take a gem from the conversations that I have in the Clownback series, and we might cut it out and make it an intro. That was one of those gems that stuck out to me so far.
Okay.
Like how you just broke it down. There's a price and a product for everybody.
For everybody.
You know what I mean? And I think that's a great tool and something that a person could learn who wants to get into this industry. So let's talk about that person who's watching the Clownback series, like I said. And what could you say? What are some of the tips that you could provide a person, a kid right now, who wants to follow your footsteps?
So the biggest tip, gem, thing that I've ever learned in business, and a lot of people disagree with me on this one, it's controversial. I tell people feelings don't count, feelings don't matter. You know, business is not something you should get into if you are so in tune to how you feel. Anytime you say, I felt this or I felt that, you're wrong. Because nobody cares about how you feel. And you shouldn't care about how people feel about you or your brand or whatever you're doing. I had the notion that if you didn't want it or you didn't want it, I'm gonna wear it.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna find a buyer for this garment or this item or this, And I remember my best friend, one of my best friends coming over. He had on, at the time, Sim Rotman had a brand called Dreams.
Okay.
So he came over, and I just started making clothes. I had the shorts and the t-shirts. He came over with a whole Dreams giddy up on. This is my man. And I looked at him like, damn, yo, you ain't. He used to come over here he's like, man, when you make something that I like, I'm gonna wear it. Right. So that stuck. So it was my responsibility to step my game up to where he felt attracted to the item. So if I my feelings would have got caught up in there, I probably would have said, fuck you, or man, that ain't my friend, or, but feelings don't count.
So what did you say? And it's great that you say that, right? Yeah. Because even when you produce content now, you're gonna have a lot of opinions.
Oh yeah.
So when you did get opinions about your brand that were probably negative, what did you think about that? Did you use it as motivation? Like you said,
absolutely.
It didn't count to you, right?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Well, if you ain't like it this week, I'm gonna keep working. You might like it next week.
Did that cause you to change anything, or you stayed to yourself?
I stayed true to myself so far as quality, but I'm always open to new ideas. I'll always work with a new artist or a new graphic artist or, somebody who may bring something new to the table. And that's what it takes when it comes to trying to build a company.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Some great gems.
Yeah.
Where do you see Cashland in the next 10 years?
Being I want to wholesale it to a lot of the sneaker boutiques because they are getting that elevated price for a lot of items.
Like which ones?
Right now I'm working with Sneaker Premier. They got 3 locations here in 2 in Baltimore, 1 in District Heights. And I think they're going to put a new one somewhere towards the DC area.
Yeah. Yes, they got good locations.
Yeah. There's another one down at in Fells Point. I just took some stuff down too. I'm working with them for the fall. But since it's been working with the boutiques, I think I'm gonna start venturing to a lot of the ones out of state. Because anytime you wear, especially that chrome t-shirt, the one with the chrome C on it, anytime you wear that one anywhere outside of this city, people wanna know what it is. They wanna know where you got it from, how much it costs, and how they can get one.
And what would you want that person to say that's representing your brand? How would you want them to answer that? If I was out of town wearing that and somebody asked me, what would you hope I said? So
I hope you just say, yo, this is Cashland. Here's the Instagram. All that other talking and all, you ain't got to do all that.
I ain't got to sell it for you, right? I just planted the seed because I wore it.
There you go.
My man.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes less is more,
Now, I got to know because, again, everything sounds good. You know what I'm saying? It looks beautiful. We're in a lovely location, right? I want to do what you do, but I don't have the capital right now. It's 2024. Everybody's got an idea. How can I get started?
I tell people all the time, and I work with up-and-coming designers, I'll, show you how to work within your budget. So if you got $100, make $100 worth of shirts. Wear 2 of them, sell 6 of them. Take that money you made from the 6 times 25 is 150. Now you got 150. Keep wearing your 2, go buy 10. And the biggest thing about having a brand is the ability to sell. It's not about making something creative, even though it is, but it's not. It's really being able to sell. You gotta be a salesman. If you're not a salesman, your brand's going nowhere.
Excellent advice, man. Yeah. Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So hopefully, people watching the Climb Back series and the platform can see Cashland, and if people didn't know about Cashland, they can check you out. Who would you say in a perfect world would you like to represent your brand if you could hire somebody to maybe model or be a brand ambassador that might not know? That might be watching today? Who would you want to see if you had that opportunity?
Jay-Z.
Okay. You want Hov rocking the Cashland? That's one of my favorite rappers of all time, so I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, Jay-Z.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you want to add? Obviously, we're going to get the way we can find you, what stores are around, where your
Yep.
locations are, but
Yep.
go ahead and, put out some marketing, plug whatever you like at this moment.
Yeah, you can always check us out via Instagram. My main page on Instagram is shop.cashland. Our website is shopcashland.com. Of course, my store is at 1341 Bayard Street. It's a warehouse district right off of Washington Boulevard. It's always easy to park, pull up, hop in, hop out. And that's why we chose this location, because I've been in the hood, and at the time, people getting shot in my neighborhood, all that kind of stuff. And as it got more popular, parents and grandparents was bringing their kids down. I couldn't have that.
Yeah.
So I went to the mall. The mall was great. We were out Security Mall, and we were in Mondawmin Mall. But security, when the pandemic happened and everybody was trying to charge us rent for not even being in there, I got out of there. But I had this space already, and I had already been working on it. And when the pandemic hit, I just moved everything here.
Yeah, and one thing I told you coming in here, like, it feels like a boutique. You got the brick walls, it's got good ambiance. It doesn't feel like a cold warehouse of clothes. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm in an atmosphere to where I can talk to the owner. You're
Right.
very personable. And you offer these services, like you said, the way you can come in and get shirts created right then and there.
Yeah, and I'm always here. A lot of people think that I'm somewhere else, running around. I work my business every day. Every day. That's another thing. Like, you gotta be a part of your business, your dream. You can't just let everybody else. Well, I got this person working for me or that person working for me. That's cool, but I'd rather do it this way. Yeah.
Rather do it that way, and it's working for you.
Yeah. It's been 25 years.
25 years. I wish you great success.
Yeah, no problem.
Hopefully the Climb Back series can reach 25 years, but we're going to keep trying to inspire who we can.
Yep.
Is there anything else you just want to add?
Stay out your feelings. That's it. I don't care about, even if it ain't a clothing store, even if it's not business, even if it's just a job, like, go to work, do your job. Stay out your feelings. Like, don't get caught up in the, I feel this, or I feel that, or I feel like somebody wronged me, or this and that. Just do your job and go home.
More gems from the man, Jon Cash, the CEO, founder of Cashland. Come on down, check it out. You're going to see us rocking the attire and the gear. Follow him on social. Again, it's Hef Streams. It's the Climb Back series.